Hi, welcome to Mr. Techpathy Tutorials. This is part 10 of Linux device drivers. Today, we are going to discuss about module parameters in Linux device drivers. In this session, we'll learn about four topics. The first one is about what are module parameters. Second one is ways to change these module parameters. The third one is about module underscore param macro. Fourth one is array module parameters. Coming to our first topic, what are module parameters? Today we are going to discuss about these powerful parameters which are useful to change the behavior of our driver from system to system. Many kernel programmers know about these module parameters, but very few realize the power of them. So what are these module parameters? If you are a C programmer or familiar with C language, you might have heard about command line arguments. These module parameters are similar to command line arguments while dealing with Linux kernel modules. Module parameters are the parameters which are assigned at the load time by insmode and modeprobe. We'll see how insmode is used for assigning these module parameters in upcoming slides. Let's see what are the ways to change the module parameters. There are two ways to pass these parameters to your Linux kernel module. One is using insmode or modeprobe. The second one is reading parameter assigned from the configuration file. Let's come back to the first one. So the first one, when you want to pass any parameter to your Linux kernel module, you use this command called insmode space module.kvo. If you are not familiar with insmode command, I recommend to watch my earlier tutorials on Linux device drivers. So coming to this command, it is insmode module.kvo space with optional parameters. These are the optional parameters. Let's say if you pass a module parameter, say module parameter 1 with the value of value 1, then whenever you are referring module parameter 1 in your program, will consider the value which is passed through this command. Similarly, you can pass n number of commands like module 2 or module 3. The second one is reading parameter assignment from the configuration file. Whenever you are using a mode probe, either you can pass that as a parameter to it, like the first command, or you can add those parameters in modeprobe.config file. So whenever you execute modeprobe command, it will first try to read these parameters from modeprobe.conf and will pass those parameters to your Linux kernel module. In this session, we'll concentrate more on this first method using insmode. This command accepts several types of values on the command line. As you can see here, there are various types of module parameters supported. One is bool, inverted bool, character pointer, integer, long, short, unsigned int, unsigned long, and unsigned short. At the end of this session, I'll give you a demo on module parameters by taking Hello World kernel module as an example. Then you will clearly come to know what exactly I am talking about module parameters here. Coming to module param underscore macro. Let's learn how the module must make module parameters available before insmode tries to change them. So whenever you are trying to use these module parameters, make sure that your module which is going to use those module parameters should actually declare those variables as a part of your Linux kernel module. To make module parameters available, we need to use module underscore param macro, which is defined in module param.h. Module param takes three parameters. One is name of the variable, the second one is its type, and the third one is the permission mask. So a permission mask to be used for an accompanying sysf entry. Definitions of these marks are found in linux/stat.h. Don't forget to include linux/stat.h when you're trying to use this module param macro. As a part of permission mask, we do have this s underscore irugo. Use this s underscore irugo for a parameter that can be read by the world but cannot be changed. You can also use s underscore iruzo or with s underscore iwusr, which allows root to change this parameter. We'll not be discussing much about these parameters, and I'll leave it to you to explore this in Google or in wiki pages. Let's discuss more on changing module parameters. This module underscore param macro should be placed outside of any function and is typically found near the head of the source file. If you want to use module underscore parameters, you need to use this module underscore param at the top of your source file, preferably after including all your header files. All module parameters should be given a default value. Insmode changes the value only if it is explicitly told by the user. The module can check for explicit parameters by testing parameters against their default values. Note that it is recommended not to make parameters writable unless you are prepared to detect the change and react accordingly. Coming to our final topic, array module parameters. We have discussed about module underscore param, so this is a bit advanced one where this allows array of values to be passed while insmoding your kernel module. As a part of this array module parameters, we pass all these parameters with a comma separated list. For an example, just have a look at this module underscore param underscore array with a name, type, number, and parameters, where the first parameter is the parameter's name. The second parameter is the data type of the elements of an array. The third argument is a pointer to the variable that will store the number of elements of the array by the user at module loading time. The third argument is a pointer to a variable that will store the number of elements of the array initialized by the user at module loading time. The fourth argument is the permission bits. The module loader refuses to accept more values than will fit in the array. So make sure not to pass more values while using these array module parameters. Here I am in my Linux VirtualBox. I have opened a terminal and I have logged in as a root user. So in order to demonstrate module parameters, I'll take hello world module again. So this is my hello world.c file. We have used this module in our earlier sessions as well. So I'll be adding few extra lines here. At the top of this source file, I'm adding module underscore parameters and a variable called how many and another variable called whom. So since these are the two variables, we need to declare them accordingly. So I'll declare this whom variable as a character pointer and initialize it to any string. And also I'll declare how many and initialize it to 1. So the default value of whom is world and how many is 1. Apart from this, in the hello init, we are going to run a loop to print the string which is pointed by this character pointer, and we'll try to print the number of times it is called. So when you insmode this module, it should actually print hello the string name for whatever the number. Let's say if you pass 10, then it should display from 1 to 10. Now let's exit this program. I'm using the same makefile which we have used earlier just for compiling. Let's compile this module. I'll issue a make command. Okay. Now we have our kernel object generated. Now let's type insmode space hello world.kvo, and I'm passing how many as value 10 and whom as Mr. Techpati, and I'll insmode this. So it is successfully insmoded without any issue. Now in order to check, I'll type dmessage. So you have an output here. So it displays hello, the string which is pointed by whom, and for, and the number from 0 to 9. Hope you understood the concept of module parameters here. Let me demonstrate about module array parameters or array module parameters. So for this array of module parameters, I'm using the same hello world.c file. I have modified a bit, have added an array of integers, and I've initialized them with all values zeros. And I have added module param underscore array. So this is the extra line which I have added, and this is the extra line which I have added. So here, as I said, this is the name of the array and the type, and the argc, which is a pointer to the number of parameters which we are passing, and this is the permissions mask. Right here I am again running a loop from 0 to number of elements to print the values in the array. So this formula size of array by size of integer will give you the number of parameters the array holds. So now let's say if you insmode this module with a valid parameters, then it should print hello Mr. Techpati for from 0 to 9, and it should again print the contents of array. Also it should print the number of arguments it's received. So let's run this program. Make sure that you have already removed your kernel module if you are continuing in the same session. Try to use rmmode command and execute rmmode hello world.kvo. Since I have already removed it, it may complain saying that the hello world does not exist. Now let's build this module. Now your kvo is generated. So I'll type this command with hello world.kvo, how many assigned to 10 and whom assigned to Mr. Techpati, and my int array assigned to 10, 12 and 13. So I pressed enter. Our module is successfully insmoded without any issue. Now let me check the contents of dmessage. As expected, you can see that hello to Mr. Techpati is printed from 0 to 9 times. The module array parameters we have passed as 10, 12 and 13 are printed. We have also successfully printed the number of arguments which are passed. Here we have passed 10, 12 and 13, which are 3 numbers. The received arguments is printed as 3 arguments. Hope you understood module array parameters in this session. Remember, Mr. Techpati Tutorials is all about inspiring others to learn and share their knowledge. Let's learn, share and make this world a better place to live. Thanks for watching Mr. Techpati Tutorials. If you like this video, please subscribe this channel for more videos. Also, don't forget to give a thumbs up. Thank you.